Hello everyone, I hope y'all are all having a great day. It is August 21st, and today I'm back with another video. Today I'm going to be talking about mainly the tropics, because we do have Hurricane Henri, and it does pose a threat to the northeast. Uh, so yeah, I guess let's go ahead and get started with the video. So, go over to the National Hurricane Center. We have the remnants of Grace, right over in central Mexico. Uh, Pretty sure Red Landfall has a hurricane. We can actually go back and look at wind history, and yes, we did make landfall as a hurricane. Made two landfalls as a hurricane. That's pretty interesting. But now we have a bigger deal, something else to focus on. We have Henri, Hurricane Henri, and last video I think it was either Monday or Tuesday. This wasn't looking like it was gonna pose a threat at all to the U.S., but now it is looking like it's gonna pose a threat, and this threat could be quite significant. Uh, So let's go ahead and talk about this. So right now, Henri has sustained winds of 75 miles per hour. The wind field is pretty large, kind of to the south and the east of the storm. So most of the winds are right to the southeast of the low. And it's going to change though. We can see it's going to hit some colder water as we get up into coastal New England, Long Island, and could we get into a tropical storm. We already have hurricane warnings out, though, for areas of Long Island, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. Let's go over to tropical tidbits, though, and take a look at what we have going on. So this is what Henri looks like on satellite currently. We can see some nice outflow. Just by looking at satellite, the low is about right here. You can see most of the convection is to the south and east of the center, but this isn't as bad as I've seen it before. It's not, I wouldn't say it's symmetrical. It's lopsided for sure, but it's not extremely lopsided. It could get its act together pretty quickly. You can see the outflow with it. It looks pretty nice as well. Let's go back. And really, a lot of the models, none of the models have this thing getting up too much higher. Maybe up to around 80 miles per hour. That's about it, though. And we can go to analysis tools, and the waters are much cooler in that area. Let me get a zoomed in image of this. Yeah, so the waters are much cooler up into the northeast. So you can see where it is now. It's kind of in this area. Waters are warm, 20, 30 degrees Celsius, 25, 30 degrees Celsius. But as it gets closer up in the Long Island, it's really going to get some cool waters, 22, 23 degrees Celsius. Much cooler, and that could weaken into a tropical storm right before it makes landfall, which that will be very good if it does. But right, even if it is a tropical storm, it's going to pose a significant threat to areas of Long Island, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. So yeah, let's go and look at some models on tropical tidbits here. We're going to start off by looking at the GFS. Not the best tropical model, but it's definitely something we need to consider. So, GFS actually has this thing only weakening down to around a 980. It has this thing strengthening still, maybe even down into the 970s, which will put it probably maybe 85 miles per hour for winds here. And take a look, and yeah, we have some pretty good winds with that. Also has a pretty symmetrical as well. And as it coming into Connecticut tomorrow afternoon. Lots of heavy rain for Long Island, Connecticut. And it weakens quickly as it moves into Massachusetts. And then kind of just gets absorbed with another storm system. Then moves out by Tuesday. Definitely looking like wind, storm surge. And I think we're going to see a narrow band of very heavy rain and a lot of rain. You can take a look at the GFS. The GFS is total precip accumulations. It's a narrow bid. You can see areas in central Connecticut could be getting 4 or 5 inches according to the GFS, but then Providence, Rhode Island, are getting less than half an inch. So that's a pretty good difference. We'll have to see about that. I wouldn't count on this too much because this is the GFS, and Well, this is a model. This is not gonna show you what's gonna happen exactly. Now this is only like 40 hours out, so this isn't too far out. But uh, yeah. So let's take a look at another model. Let's go ahead and look at the Canadian. Canadian has it doing something very similar. Has it a little bit weaker though, 994. That's a pretty significant difference. Has it coming in the kind of Rhode Island, Connecticut. It has that band of heavy rain coming across eastern Long Island, central Connecticut, western Mass. And yeah, those areas will. I'm thinking that those areas will see the heaviest rain with this. And let's see if there's any other models we can look at. We can use some hurricane models here. We can look at the H Wharf, which has this thing making landfall right kind of in that Rhode Island, Connecticut area, right kind of right here, the border of Connecticut, Rhode Island, right in that area as a 980 and weakening right as it goes on land. Some gusty winds in the Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, maybe southern Vermont, southern New Hampshire. Once again, that heaviest rain, kind of right to the like really right to the west of that center. So yeah, that's the H Wharf. And take a look at the. So I think this is a different version of the H Wharf. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at it. Yes, 981, pretty much coming on land right in that same area. They're very similar. Yeah, so I think this is just a slightly different version of the H Wharf. Take a look at the H Mon. I don't think this model hasn't really. It agrees with pretty much all the other models, though, coming right on land, right there, is around a 982. With likely kind of an upper end tropical storm. And then, so yeah, now let's take a look at radar, and we can kind of see where it estimates that we'll see the heaviest rain. And once again, that area, eastern Long Island, central Connecticut, western and maybe central Mass, and kind of moving up into Vermont or New Hampshire, and then maybe Maine. So I really think I'm willing to bet that this thing is gonna make landfall, kind of in this area right here, maybe a bit further west or east, kind of the straw box right here. I think this is the area where it's gonna make landfall. And right now I'm willing to bet it's gonna make landfall as an upper end tropical storm. That's what I'm thinking. 980 to 985 millibars. Maybe I'm just gonna go with 985. So yeah, a storm surge will definitely be a problem with this. Kind of in this area too. I really think this area could have the worst storm surge. Because they're right on that east side. Yeah, so that is Henri. Henri's gonna be a big deal. Now there's really not too much more to talk about. After Henri, because the pattern we're in right now is kind of quiet. We can go back to storm reports over the past couple of days, and like for example, this is yesterday. Just a few tornado reports up in Minnesota, North Dakota, and Iowa. Nothing too significant. Although we did have some pretty significant wind in areas of Kansas and into Kansas City area yesterday. We can take a look at today's convective outlook. We do have a marginal risk for the south, pretty much most of the south, and another marginal risk for areas in the northwest. Day 2 is the day we're going to talk about. This is tomorrow's convective outlook. We have a slight risk that goes in areas in North Dakota down all the way into Kansas. So let's go ahead and talk about this real quick. Let's use the NAM model and kind of just see what we could have. So tomorrow afternoon, let's go out to tomorrow afternoon real quick. And here we go. So yeah, we can see tomorrow afternoon we have our low up in southern Canada. Definitely looks like a pretty classic Northern Plains severe weather event and even Central Plains cold front kind of stretch like this. You can see Henri over in the northeast. Kind of, I think I think this is a trough down here in the southeast. I think we can actually see that right now. But this is what's going to be bringing our severe weather threat tomorrow. We're going to go ahead and take a sounding in southwest Minnesota. I'm not going to talk about this too much. That doesn't look too good, but let's go ahead and go to 00Z. Storm going off in Nebraska. Let's try and take a sounding of that. And that definitely looks pretty good. So the SPC does have a slight risk out, which means scattered severe storms can be expected. So yeah, now last thing I want to do in today's video is go over to College Edu page and look at the current. I think I want to look at water vapor. This is kind of the current visible satellite. You can see Henri right there. It's some kind of disturbance down here, and I think our storm system that's going to bring in severe weather tomorrow is located right here. Now here's a cool little fact. Henri actually originated I think it was either last week or 2 weeks ago. We had a bunch of severe storms, and I think even a derecho in Wisconsin, Illinois, Michigan. It even brought severe weather to the northeast, and that's what Henri came off of. So the same thing that brought us severe weather 2 weeks ago, I'm pretty sure it was around. Actually, let's go back and look. Let's go over to storm reports, and we can just kind of go back. Let's go back to the. Just go back to the 5th real quick. And this is the 5th, 6th, the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. I think this was yeah. This severe weather event up in the Chicago area, the Milwaukee area. This was Henri came off as Henri is the same piece of energy that brought that. So that's pretty interesting. So yeah, now let's take a look at mid-level water vapor. We have some kind of trough that kind of pushed in here. It doesn't look as great as it did yesterday. It's gonna kind of bring Henri up into the northeast and not let it go further to the east. You can see some disturbance across the southeast. Also, another disturbance across areas of the northwest. I'm pretty sure that's the storm system that's going to bring our severe weather tomorrow. Once it ejects into the plains. Some disturbance across the southeast. I know we had a severe thunderstorm warning by the Birmingham area about 15 minutes ago. But yeah, so I guess I'll wrap up today's video. Henri is going to be a pretty big deal tomorrow. If you live in areas of Connecticut, Rhode Island, Long Island, even maybe areas kind of close to New York City, Massachusetts, gonna want to be prepared. It'd be really hard to not know about this at this point because pretty much every major news source, pretty much every news source has talked about this. But if you do live in any of those areas, just be prepared. I'm expecting an upper end tropical storm, but we're going to have to see. The National Hurricane Center thinks this will be a tropical storm at landfall as well. But we never know. It could maybe come in as a hurricane. Hopefully it does not. Hopefully it weakens enough from those cooler waters. But we will have to see. But yeah, I'll post. I don't think I'm gonna live stream tomorrow. But yes. Goodbye.